The following is a Panihati Festival lecture given by His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Mahārāja on June 15th, 1981 in Los Angeles, California, USA.
Today, of course, is a very auspicious day. It is our first time in about 3-4 years that I was not present in Panihati for the Chiradoi festival there. I hope that they're observing it this year as we did in the previous years, because it was always a popular festival, but it had gone down to about 20,000, 15,000 people when we started coming 3-4 years ago. After Prabhupada went there twice and said he wanted to have a center there, then we started to go every year with Nitai Gaur, and now that festival has come up to nearly about 200,000 people, and we distribute about 50,000 people some shira and doi. Doi means chipped rice and yogurt. This, of course, originally began with Raghunath Das Goswami, who was a Grihastha who wanted to leave his family and join Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he knew that he was supposed to approach Nityananda first. But when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came by there, he approached Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he asked him, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for permission to join his movement and leave his house, then Lord Chaitanya told him that story that you can be Krishna conscious even within your house. You should be just like the woman who has another lover than her husband, who very carefully does the housework, so she cannot be detected. You should so carefully do your material work, but your heart, your attachment should always be to Krishna. And this way, you should perform your devotional service in separation. Very carefully, also doing your material duties. So, of course, Raghunath Das, he followed those instructions, but he was also a little bit shattered that he was not able to join the movement of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu directly. And when he heard that Nityananda Prabhu was in Panihati with his associates, he took the advantage of approaching him. And he knew he had made offense, trying to directly jump over Nityananda and go to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. One cannot jump over the Guru and go to Gauranga. But by mercy of the spiritual master, one can approach Krishna. By the mercy of Krishna, one is brought to spiritual master. And by the mercy of spiritual master, one is brought to Krishna. If someone tries to jump over his spiritual master, then certainly he will be a failure in achieving success. So Raghunath Das Goswami, he was feeling that he had offended Nityananda Prabhu in his heart. And he came and he offered his obeisances prostrate, full out, just like a stick, to Lord Nityananda from a distance. And Nityananda said, "Oh, he has tried to directly approach Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. For this, you must take the dandha, the punishment." So Raghunath Das said, "Whatever punishment you give, Lord." And Prabhu Nityananda said, "Yes, your punishment is you have to provide prasad, shira, dairy, fruits for all these associates and all the devotees." He was the son of a rich landlord. It was no problem. That type of punishment, it was the greatest ecstasy that he could serve all the Vaishnavas. So he was very happy to do so. And he gathered, of course, you know this in the Chaitanya Charitamrita already, how he gathered all the products from the villagers. He purchased yogurt, purchased the chipped rice, and purchased koi. Koi means, it's amazing how many products they make from rice. Koi is popped rice. Regular puffed rice that you find in India, muri, what they call puffed rice, which is very smooth and crunchy, has to have salt in it. So that can't be used with milk products. Direct with milk, because milk and salt don't mix. But koi doesn't have any salt. And when it is fried, when it is made, it pops like a popcorn, only it's a popped rice. So it becomes very big, and it's very soft. So if you put it in milk, it soaks up the milk in its own way. It's very fluffy type. So that's very nice with condensed milk. So he bought big, huge amounts of koi, chipped rice, yogurt, condensed milk, and different types of fruit. Koi is when Prabhupada says that famous story, Urai koi govindaya namo. You know that? That's one of these Gopal Bhar stories. That great court gesture of the Maharaja, Krishna and Chandra. He was carrying a basket of this popped rice, which is very light, lighter than muri. Muri already is so light that one bushel of muri, 40 kilos of muri, takes a huge bag. But koi is 1.5 times more expanded than muri. So it's very light. You can have like a big bowl like this and you put the milk in it and it'll just all shrink down to about this much. It's very deceiving. You think you have a lot. When you add a little milk, it just comes down back to the original rice size. So he was carrying a whole basket of this popped rice. All of a sudden a big wind came along and blew all the popped rice into the air. And before it hit the ground, he said, what to do? He said, Urai koi. Oh, popped rice that has gone in the air. I offer you to Govinda. Because before when it hits the ground it's unalterable. So it's still in the air, so he offered it. So Prabhupada would use that. The thing is already wasted. It's going to be wasted when he offered to Govinda. Before that he wouldn't offer it. So when Prabhupada sees that someone is, just like when the brahmachari is ready to probably leave the movement, and then he say, well, listen, I call up the other temple, I'm going to give you a good man. That's like Urai koi, govindaya namo. He's already out the door, all right, I'm giving you a donation. Prabhupada, many times in India he would use that. When someone would come in and donate something, but it was actually already Krishna's to begin with. So, this koi was put with pots of condensed milk, the chira with yogurt, and of course that was distributed to all the people. And you know from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, even the people who sold the yogurt and sold the grain, they also came, and they also partook in the feast. And literally hundreds of thousands of people, just thousands and thousands of people were packed up there taking this prasad. They were even standing knee-deep in water and taking from these pots. And while Lord Nityananda and his associates were on a raised seat, and Lord Chaitanya had also a place there for him. And suddenly Lord Chaitanya became visible to Nityananda, and they were dancing through the people taking, and Nityananda was putting the prasad in Lord Chaitanya's mouth. Lord Chaitanya was putting the prasad, and Nityananda was taking from the the parts of the devotees and the general devotees that were there. In this way they're having so many transcendental pastimes. So, this is known as the Danda Mahotsav, or the punishment festival of Raghunath Das Goswami. So, today, in Bengal, Panihati. Panihati is famous not only for this Danda Mahotsav Tala, or the place of this punishment festival, but also that is the house of Raghav Pandit. Raghava Pandit, we know because his wife used to send the Raghava Joli to Lord Chaitanya in Puri, and he would take the whole year those condiments. But also Lord Chaitanya, he's always residing there in Raghava Pandit's house. So we're trying to get this property. Prabhupada said it was very important if we can get. One of the 5 places that Lord Chaitanya always exists is where Nityananda, whenever he's dancing, where Gadadhar Prabhu is making his tamarind chutney, and where in Raghav Pandit's house, he's always there. So every year at this time, for 2-3 days, there's a big festival where all the Gauḍīya Vaishnavas from all different Sampradāyas, they all come there. And they chant in kirtan, and they sometimes roll in the dust of other Vaishnavas' feet, and they have so many festivities. So it was a small festival, about 10,000-15,000 when we came. It started to grow and grow. So they have a place there, a marble raised seat, exactly under the same tree, just on the bank of the Ganges. So the first year that we came there, I remember we took Nitai Gaur, and that was actually the second year, so it was already very big. We took Nitai Gaur to the place where originally Lord Chaitanya Nityananda sat. So what happened was, there was already a Brahmin there who had set up a few little pictures of Lord Chaitanya. People were bringing up their little clay pots with chira and doi. Yogurt, doi means yogurt, and chira means chipped rice. And, giving them 10 paisa and having their bhoga offered to the little picture. So, we kind of put the Brahmin's pictures off on one side and put Nitai Gaur down before he knew it was happening. He got a little upset, but we told him, don't worry. One of those, We'll give you a pot of chira and doi. And he stood up on the side there. But somehow or another we got Nitai Gaur through, and then when the Nitai Gaur came to the crowd, there was this one kirtan group that was singing from Habra, Habra. And the one singer, he was just singing, Chaitanya Panchatattva mantra. Suddenly when he saw Nitai Gaur coming, he said, Nitai Gaur! Nitai Gaur Suche! Nitai Gaur Suche! Nitai Gaur Suche! Prema Bhana Dikte! Prema Bhana Dikte! And he made up this whole little song. Nitai Gaur has come to Panihati to flood us in love of God. And he started just singing this whole little ballad spontaneously. And as soon as he said that, it started pouring rain. And then he started saying, Prema is raining from the sky. And he started singing the song, Nitai Gaur brought the rain of mercy. And he started singing, Prema Vristiya Suche, Nitai Gaur Kripate. And he started singing this whole little song. So that was very good because the people that had all the chira and yogurt and everything, they had got stuck about a quarter mile off the road. There was no way they could get through the crowd. Somehow the people moved aside. It's a very narrow 10-foot road and just wall-to-wall people. There was no way that these devotees are carrying these huge loads of, puffs and pops and all types of rice products and there was no way they could get through. Suddenly, as soon as that rain hit, everybody, ran to the sides of the building. Dangerous. Padang, imitation. You don't make them like they used to. So, when the people, they suddenly, walked off the middle of the road and stood by the side of the building just to get out of the rain, and the devotees ran with the chira, with the puffed rice, and somehow they got just to Nitai Gaur, just behind them, and the rain stopped. And boom, all the people back on the road. Then they walked back to the lorry with the power to get to the big walks, these big tubs. And all the other took about 2 trips. But then again, they couldn't get through the crowd. Again, it rained. And the people split and they ran through. Just a 10-minute rain. They brought all the ingredients over to Nitai Gaur. Then there was no water there. So what to use? Jai Ganga Mai Ki! Mother Ganges dipped in it was downstream that time, the current. So they dipped in, took the Ganges water, washed off the chira, and so we wanted to make 108 Malsha Bhogs. This Malsha Bhog is a special treat, which has come from that festival, but it's been developed into a very wonderful thing. Malsha Bhog means that 108 clay pots with this chira break. So this is, sometimes they have this, they offer bhoga to all the mahantas of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all the associates. And during these different occasions, the people like Malsa, this type of clay pot and chira yogurt, chipped rice yogurt. So what we did is we used the topmost recipe that we knew for making this type of Malsa Bhog offering for Nitai Gaur. By first taking the yogurt and the chira, soaking the chira, then mixing it, and then putting in this koi on the one side, and then that makes the basic standard with sugar and gur within it. And then you take on top of that and you put some sweet yogurt, then you put some cheese, chana, curdled curds, call it chana, curdled milk, just the cheese part of it, with rock candy on it, and then loose rock candy with a little bit of black pepper. Then white, very crispy, fried white puri, rasgulla, gulab jamun, sandesh, kheer, it all goes on top. Look at it, it's so big like this. So on the whole top is made this arrangement. Mango slices, chini chapacola, type of banana which is called a butter banana. Very sweet, 16% or 18% sugar. Sweetest banana in the world. Then the type of astringent blackberry called kalo jam. That means black gem berry. And also gulab jam, rose berries, special type of berry that has a scent and taste just like a rose. Then jackfruit, fresh jackfruit, because this is the season, and then lychee nut. Then some tuberose, rose, also we put on just one side of it there. Then we take a little agaroo and sprinkle agaroo over. And then you take the big elaichi, the big cardamom, and take that in some Ganges water and mix it, and then you take it and sprinkle it over. Then you see if you left off any sweets, maybe some sour pudiya or other type of sweets, and fill up the gap. And then, of course, Vrinda Devi, tulsi must be in everyone. So then the tulsi is placed. From this there are 108 such pots. And so they had the devotees, had claws, and they stood on the top of this marble thing on all sides, and they held the cloth up, so that no one could see. Of course, the people were a little bit young, but they were more or less pretty respectful. And then we started putting the 108 pots, and there was no room. The Brahmin had to stand off on the side. Frankly, it filled up. The whole thing was filled with these, and so that we covered with new cloth over the offering, so that no flies would land on it. And then, with a big bell, blowing the conch, then, you do one of those very, those big offerings. The people get into it. Offer it. And then after the offering is over, then when you offered, you took off the cloths over the offering, and then you have the people holding the cloths around it. Take it away and blow the cloths, and all the people see here the 108 Mosas. Everybody just jumps up and down in ecstasy. And then you have this arti, and everyone is chanting with the arti. Literally, tens of thousands of people in that area. There's more beyond that, but in that whole area is packed. And everyone is chanting and watching the arti. And then finally, when the arti is over, then what to do? Then it's time to distribute the prasadam. So of course, first we take off a few for pujaris and other things. Some kirtan devotees. And then the first brave devotee who's going to distribute the prasad, says, all right, he takes one pot, and you see him go into the mass of people, and suddenly you see just like an unlimited number of hands. It looks like, Banasur has 1,000 hands, but there are more than 1,000 hands. And they're all going for this pot. And then you see the devotee disappear. And you see suddenly the pot broken up in little pieces and that everyone, and then the devotee after about 5 minutes crawls out from the people. Completely, with a ripped shirt. So we did it, we had to make another type of system. So then what we did is we had the devotees stand on a higher portion, like on the wall or something, and the people would lift their hands up and give it like that. And once in a while, the devotee would slip and lean over too far, and then again he would be crawled out of it. And the people, they go wild just to get this much prasad. It wasn't that they're starving, that they have, because they wanted prasad. They knew this is very sacred. And everyone wanted to get this much prasad, and practically what they would do to get it was unbelievable. And they would go to no end to get this much prasad from their special Mahaprasad offering. So we gave that Brahmana, we moved off, we gave him one pot, just, He said, I got a brother also. So then, we had to, after those times, so we had to shift the operation a little bit off on one side, and then we had the big walks, and meanwhile they're mixing more of the chira day. And the people, even after the chira, the chipped rice and the yogurt was finished, we simply had the dry chira with water. That they also say, prasad. And when even just a plain chira with not even a salt or anything in it, they're still there. Anything to get little of that prasad. After everything was finished, and there was still one bag of chira left, people say, prasad, prasad. Atudao, prasad. Give me a little prasad, please. So, then we mixed up even the plain chira and got a couple of kilos of gur together, shoved it in there, and then gave everyone really eager for this prasad. And actually there were so many people that the people were waist deep in the water. The bathing ghats and everything, they're completely packed with people. And you could actually see practically the pastime was being relived by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. The last year we brought the boat with Nitai Gaur on the boat because we already had experience. We can't depend every year the rain's going to come just on time. That was our rainfall, our windfall or something. But so last year we brought the boat, and we had a game track that led right out from the boat right to the back of this special sitting place. But the Brahmins, they were already ready for it. They didn't want to give up their vantage point. But we made a compromise that just for the 108 offerings for 1 hour, you have to give us the place, and we had built a special pandal where we're distributing the prasad to the public from there. We wouldn't distribute from here, but we'll just offer it here, and then take Nitai Gaur over to our pandal, which we constructed. So then we took the boat with the Hare Krishna flag, and we took a big circle around in the Ganges. And all the people were chanting from the side, Hari Bol, Jai Nitai Gaur, while the boat made a big round with a kirtan party on it. And there was a similar distribution in Kirtan. That year that it was raining, you see that some of the people, they're chanting and they're completely soaking wet, but they still continued chanting. So many groups. Some people, just 5 people would come in a group, some 20. Some would just come singly to see and to participate. Some would join into our group and start chanting. It was very wonderful to see all the different Gauḍīya Vaishnavas. But there's always, after we started making the big hit, a few other bogus gurus came. And then last year, so what we did is, there was a pandal on one side made by one of these bogus gurus. And when we offered the prasadam, everybody stomped over his pandal to see the offering of the prasadam and tore his pandal. I think I had to run away. So up to now we've been able to maintain the upper hand in the Panihati Festa. I hope that this year. So, actually, these festivals are nothing new. These festivals, we were reading how the festival, even after Lord Chaitanya disappeared, that the festivals were held on Gaur Purnima. 450 years ago. And, of course, remember the time that Srila Prabhupada, he went to Panihati, he saw the building there and he said that this building is too broken to be maintained. We should take a picture of it, exact all-angle picture, and tear it down and build the exact replica of Raghuv Pandit's house, because there's banyan trees and everything. The roots had grown right into the wall and breaking it down. Probably the whole roof was being held up by the roots. It's not a very secure situation, because any time it could fall on your head. So he was saying to take an exact photograph, but they were supposed to give that when they didn't give it to us, when they had promised to give it, and they didn't give it because there was a change into a communist government. But now we're overcoming those difficulties that they were first put up. But at that time, when it changed in the communist government, people had stopped it from coming to us. Then the sacred Malati tree, there's a Malati which Lord Nityananda had planted, had grown out of the body of Raghuv Pandit, Malati Lota. And that tree, just last year when they refused to give the place to us, the last year, died. It was growing since 500 years. So I used that to preach to people that this is due to all your offenses. You're not doing your regular Sankirtan. So a lot of these places, of course, that was a very great relic. The tree is still there, but the Malati Lota, which was growing over the Samadhi of Raghuv Pandit, I believe, Raghuv Pandit Samadhi, but now that has left the world. So a lot of devotees are very upset. The original deities of Raghuv Pandit are still there. The Radha, Madana, Gopal, I believe, or Radha, Madana, Mohana deities are there. I believe those are his deities. And Prabhupada went there and had like a little picnic. And at that time he suggested that there can be a boat service from Calcutta to Panihati to Mayapur. People go by boat and have a nice scenic ride, rather than go by the dangerous route on the road. Very comfortably go by the river. So we're investigating also to see whether that will be for the festival, maybe the devotees will be convenient to go out by boat sometime. We're checking that out. This summer we're going to take a boat up to Mayapur and see how long it takes. Bhavananda Maharaj said that it was a very scenic view. He went on the boat one time. Very beautiful. When I went around that one tour, it was very beautiful. There's so many temples on the side of the Ganges. So, Panihati is just near About 10 miles north of that is Kordaha. You know Kordaha. Sripad Kordaha? The Sripad Kordaha is the home after Nityananda Prabhu married Janava Devi and Vasudha in Shaligram. Then he went to Navadvip. From Navadvip he went to Ambika Karna. From Ambika Karna he went to Adi Saptagram, the house of Udan Datta Thakur. And from there he went to Kordaha. In Kordaha he made his house. And so the house of Nityananda Prabhu is still visited by devotees. And just like Shantipur was a holy place for Advaita, like that Kordaha was holy to Nityananda Prabhu. And they have built a temple there over the samadhi of the umbilical cords of Birbhadra Prabhu and Ganga Devi, the son and daughter of Nityananda. And thousands of devotees come there and offer their obeisances to their temple of their umbilical cord. Which may sound strange, but it's not. When you consider that Birbhadra Prabhu is Kirodakshari Vishnu avatar, and that his umbilical cord is not material, and that Vasudha, his mother, was Mahalakshmi, was Varuni, Lord Balaram's consort. So anything that is coming from these transcendental personalities is also transcendental. So they have left part of their transcendental form there that is sacred and worshipable. Everything in connection with the Lord is transcendental, just like the Lord is transcendental. We say, Mahaprasade Govinde, Nama Brahmani Vaishnave, Swata Punang Bhatarajang Vishwasana Vijayate, repeating these sacred words of Sukadeva Goswami, because the Lord is transcendental. His Mahaprasad, Govinda Nam, his holy name, the Brahmanas, the Vaishnava devotees, someone has faith in the Lord and the things connected with Him, and their transcendence is of no small piety, but is greatly fortunate. Lord Chaitanya said, Sangha Pangastra Parshada. He's coming not alone, but with his associates, his assistants, his eternal paraphernalia and weapons, and intimate associates. So, just as we respect Mahaprasad, because it's offered to Krishna, we don't criticize Mahaprasad because we know that once Krishna has touched it, it's become transcendental. Just like Lord Chaitanya, when he came for the Mangalarti Darshan, and they gave him that cashew nut prasad in Jagannath Puri, and he tasted, and he was just filled with love for Krishna, and he was saying that how wonderful, how many cashew nuts we had in our life. But this cashew nut, which was tasted by Krishna, by Jagannath, how wonderful, how superb. This is nothing ordinary. And he was giving a piece to this devotee and that devotee and this devotee. And they're tasting. You see. Because this has got the nectar from Krishna's lips. Therefore it has this inconceivable ocean of transcendental bliss within. So, Mahaprasadam, of course, is sacred. It's everything connected. In Katwa, where Lord Krishna, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted sannyas, they have the Samadhi Mandir to his hair. As there he cut his hair off. You know how when they cut his hair off, the people were crying. They were pounding, they were screaming, no, not Lord Chaitanya's hair, not his transcendental hair. They couldn't see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would be taking this austerity. He is himself the Lord. He's the supreme enjoyer. Why should he do any austerity? Our ordinary living entity does austerity to become free from karma, to become liberated, to become situated in transcendence and to achieve love for God. But Krishna himself, there's no need for him to do any type of austerity. He's akarasa. He's always on the same transcendental platform. Akarasa. He's always in the same mellow of transcendence. He never comes under the illusion or need for any type of purification, like an ordinary human being or even demigod may need. So the people were shocked and they were crushed and they were thrown into agony to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's hair being cut. So with great faith they gathered up every hair and with great devotion they placed it there in a samadhi. And his hair is also being worshipped, that temple for his hair, since that time. Because his hair is also transcendent. It's not material. So, just like you said, devotees have little things around their neck with little remnants in it. Anything in connection with Krishna becomes transcendental. So there in Khordha, there is this temple for Nityananda. Beautiful deity of Birbhadra. Such a beautiful deity, Birbhadra. Birbhadra is known as Abhinna Kolivar, or having a non-different body from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Nityananda's son, Birbhadra, he had a non-different body from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Of course, Kirodakshari Vishnu is Vishnu Tattva non-different from Krishna. So Birbhadra, he was non-different from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was very merciful, very great preacher. There's a story how they were having a festival in commemoration of the disappearance of one great devotee, Narahari. You know, Kiva Narahari Adhikari Chamaratulaya. Narahari, he would daily fan Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, especially at that Mahaprakash Arti, he was there. When he left, all the Vaishnavas were thrown into separation. He was practically the last devotee who was of that stature, Lord Chaitanya's intimate associate, to still be present. And when he left and returned to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it was a great separation for all the devotees. So at that time they held one festival. And Birbhadra came there, as did many other of the remaining devotees, like Achyutananda's brothers, the sons of Advaita Gosai, and Raghunandan Thakur, Jadunandan Thakur, the Srikandawasis, and from Kulinagram, or even the pig herders chant Hare Krishna. So many of these devotees, they all came. Srinivas Acharya was there, Ramchandra Kaviraj. I believe Narottam Thakur at that time had to go, was in Vrindavana for a visit. I'm not sure, I don't think he was able to come at that particular festival. But everyone else was there. And so Birbhadra, he started to dance to a kirtan. And his dancing, of course being Nityananda's son, Nityananda's dancing was such that Lord Chaitanya had to be there. So Birbhadra also had wonderful dancing. More beautiful than what the Gandharvas can conceive of. He was dancing before the deity of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there to the kirtan. And there was one blind man who wanted to see the kirtan. And he was there, he wanted to know what was going on, so he kept saying, "What is happening? What is Birbhadra doing now?" He said, "Now he's dancing in this way," and he described how he was dancing with his lotus eyes, how he was in this way dancing, and now he's leaping and he's jumping. And now what's Birbhadra Prabhu doing? Suddenly, he could see, Hari Bol, Hari Bol! And his eyesight, there before his very blind eyes, was the beautiful vision of Birbhadra he could see. And of course all the devotees were very ecstatic to see the blind person, just by chanting Birbhadra's name and desiring to serve him through seeing his transcendental pastimes, was given sight. And that kirtan, of course, went on and on and on deep into the night. Finally, in the dead of night, you see, the kirtan was at the full crescendo. But the devotees started to get deep into a separation. Kotai Gaurachandra, where is Gaurachandra? Kotai Nityananda, where is Nityananda? Where will we get their association? Where will we get those transcendental qualities? Where is Advaita? Where is Gadadhar? Where can we get their association? Where is Srivas? Pandit? Where is Gadadhar Das? Where is Murari? Where is Chandrasekhar? Where is Sarup? Rupa? Sanatana? Where is Narahari? And then, in this way, everyone, they became so overwhelmed in separation, feeling how unworthy they were. We should understand this separation is not ordinary, like what kamis feel, lamentation or some type of misery. But this is a deep, intimate mood of love and appreciation. So they were absorbed in this separation. And just to show you how this is completely directed by Yogamaya and by Krishna's transcendental energy, you see. When they got down to what was practically the pit of separation, the most intense separation, they were just virtually rivers of tears were flowing. Everyone was weeping, and they could hardly chant anymore. They're just saying their names and breaking up. They're choking up and crying and holding on to each other and just remembering all these qualities and passing out unconscious, and some would get up and then they'd go on chanting the different separation songs and falling unconscious and crying. And in this state, what it looked like they're also going to leave their body practically in separation. Suddenly, by Krishna's mercy, everyone felt the mood of sangbodh, from virohe. Separation came, the mood of union. And suddenly everyone became ecstatic, jubilation. And they started embracing each other and jumping up and down. And the whole kirtan mood changed just in a second. The whole current of transcendental rasa had shifted. And in that ocean of rasa, the current was now coming in a different direction by Krishna's mercy. And everyone, they were filled with a feeling just as if Lord Chaitanya and the associates were present, and they were filled with some transcendental joy. In the deepest separation, suddenly they became jubilant in Krishna consciousness. And the kirtan went, and this way, before they knew it, it was time for Mangal Arati. So then they attended the Mangal Arati and went and took their bath. And the next day, of course, they had some prasad. Like this, they were having their festival. And Srinivas Acharya, he would sometimes give the Bhagavatam class, Virabhadra would dance. And like this, they're having so many festivals. And of course, you probably heard about that big festival in Keturi. That's the festival which is really, maybe there's not time to tell you about that tonight. That is a really Maha festival. What happened was, when Anaratam came back from Vrindavana, and he was a prince in his previous life. He was a devotee right from birth, but practically he was the son of the brother of the king. He was a prince. But he never accepted that. He became a devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What?
This is not after Mahaprabhu.
This is after. This is after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left, like 50 years after he left. Second generation. And I described before how Srinivasacharya, Narottam, and Shyamananda Pandit were in Vrindavan together, and how they received training from they had different gurus also. You know that Narottam Das Thakur's spiritual master was Gopinath Goswami, and Srinivasacharya's spiritual master was, his Diksha guru was Gopal Bhatta Goswami, but he took training, Shiksha, from Jiva Goswami. And actually, Shyamananda Pandit, who was known as Dukhi Krishna Das, was initiated by Hridayananda, the disciple of Gauridas Pandit, who was Subal and Krishna's intimate friend of Nitai and Gaur. But Hridayananda sent him to Jiva Goswami with a note to please train him up in the Vaishnava philosophy very properly, because Jiva Goswami was the greatest Pandit, and then send him back for preaching here after he's thoroughly trained up. So they were all together, Narottam, Shyamananda, and Srinivasacharya in Vrindavana, when of course then Govindaji, the deity, ordered Srinivas that you have to take back all the books to Bengal. And all the Rupa Goswami and other came in dream, and they also ordered Jiva Goswami. So then they brought the books to Bengal. That's a whole other story. And up to that point they were together. And then Narottam went one way and preached in the eastern Bengal, eastern northern side. Srinivas stayed and preached around Burdwan, Bankuya districts of Bengal. And Shyamananda Pandit went to Orissa, delivered Rasikananda. Srinivas delivered Ramchandra Kaviraj, and Narottam he delivered so many others. And this way they were preaching. But then they would all come together on certain occasions for these big festivals, like the one that they had in Srikhanda for Narahari. So when Narottam came back, it was his desire that I want to have a festival on Gaur Purnima. On the birthday of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and have a big abhishek for the Lord, and invite all the Vaishnavas to be present on that day. So he personally went to see Srinivas, who was also going to see him, because he wanted to have his association. The Vaishnavas, they always, although they preach, they always want to associate with other senior preachers to get that association and inspiration of exchanging transcendental mellows and in discussing their preaching programs and so on and so forth. So when they met together, actually before they met, one Brahmana came and told Srinivas. At this time, Srinivas was in the village of Baludi, I believe, just very near to Narottam Das Thakur's house. So Narottam were his preaching field. He was coming there, but the day before he came, a Brahmin came and told that Narottam Thakur is coming. And he said, well, what's the news? What has Narottam Thakur been doing? Well, he said, he's been preaching. He said there was one devotee, big businessman, big farmer, had a big silo of grain. But a snake, big cobra, went in that silo. So no one would go near it. So Narottam Thakur had a dream that this was Krishna's plan, and that he should go there. And so Narottam Thakur went to that place, and they said, where's your silo? He said, well, there's my silo. He said, but don't go near there, there's a cobra, there's a snake. Jai Nitai Gaura Ki! Jai Sri Rukmini Dagadish Ki! Jai Janot Subhadram Ki! So Narottam, he insisted. And he went over and opened the door. And when he opened the door, the snake crawled out and turned into actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared there for a moment before everyone's eyes, and then disappeared. And so at that place they built a temple to Gauranga Mahaprabhu, and he took the whole silo of rice, there as you can take it. And he built a temple with it, and he had a big prasadam distribution. No problem? So, like that, then Narottam Thakur came and he asked. When they met, of course, Srinivasacharya went out to the edge of the town when he heard he was coming and met him, and they embraced and then paid obeisances. And then he said, asked, what are the news from Narottam? He said, well, I went to Vrindavan and came back. And he took Srinivas aside and he said, it's my deep desire. I have 6 deities. I want to have an abhishek on Gaur Purnima and have a big festival of all the Vaishnavas, and I want you to perform the abhishek. Tell how we can you've done one festival already, how we can get all the Vaishnavas to come. This is my keen desire. So Srinivas says, well, when it's your desire, of course, that means Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, certainly he'll want this done, I'll be glad to do whatever I can. And so that night everyone went to sleep, and Srinivas was thinking that all the devotees are in such separation. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had left the world. Practically they were coming to these festivals at that time was very difficult because not only did they have to walk a long distance, and many of them were old, but they were in such separation that it took a special mercy to get them to come. And this is thinking how he thought himself a very humble person, how would he be able to get them, only with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy was there could it happen. Like this he was thinking, and he dozed off, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared to him in a dream and told him that immediately send out the invitations. This is my desire to have this festival to have this festival. You send out the invitations. Do not worry. It will be successful and disappear. So then Srinivas, the first thing in the morning, he got 10 messengers, wrote the letters out. In those days, you wouldn't just call them out, write a letter, send a telex. No, you have to walk to Orissa to give the personal letter to Shyamalingam Pandit, please come. Walk 1 month and give the letter. And they had to walk back to the festival. It wasn't just, book out, hey, give me 150 seats on the 747. It was, But of course, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, everything is possible. So, he sent off the different messengers, one to Santipur, one to Navadvip, one to Kordaha, to Janava Devi, like this, to different places, to the topmost Vaishnavas that were present. So, when Janava Devi received the letter, she thought, she's of course, woman, form, and she was thinking whether I should go. She's a widow at that time. Whether I should go. And then Lord Chaitanya appeared to her in a dream and also told her that you should go. As Srinivas and Narottam, they are my dear devotees. It is my desire to have this festival. You bring with you all the Vaishnavas. So Janava, when she declared that she's going to go to Keturi, then Minikitam Ramdas, remember Minikitam Ramdas, he was just carry the flute and touch people and they'd break out in ecstatic symptoms. Minikitam Ramdas, Vrindavan Das Thakur, and Govinda Kaviraj, and so many Krishna Kaviraj, all these different devotees. They left from there about 50 to 100 with also some female attendants for Janava Devi. They would call her Janava Iswari because she was the goddess of fortune. She was the internal potency. She wasn't Jiva Tattva. So she went, Udan Thakur picked him up on the way, went up to Doridas Pandit's temple and offered prasadam to Nitai Gaur deity there, took Hridaya Nanda, Hridaya Chaitanya Das. And this way they're going, the party was building up, Padayatra, into like thousands. And finally they went up to Navadvip. Srivas had already disappeared. Srivas and Srinivas Acharya, two different. The Panchatattva Srivas had gone back with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But his brothers Sripati and Srinidhi, they were there. So they stayed there for a couple of days, and then whatever devotees were there, Dejing Ishan, Sripati, Srinidhi, they all joined the party. They all went up to Keturi. It was like the from there they went to Katwa. So Lord Chaitanya took sannyas, and then they took Raghunandan Thakur, Jadunandan Acharya, those other devotees. And this way the party was growing and growing until finally, as they were approaching Keturi, and on the way, all the villages they went through, the people, they just lined up with offerings and kirtans to see that all these great devotees, when do you get a chance to see these devotees? How fortunate. And the village that Keturi where they were going to, which was the king who was sponsoring the whole thing, the uncle of Narottam, he put out his full treasury for this festival. That, whatever it costs, we're going to spend it for the prasadam and the house and everything for the devotees. So those villagers, they were mad, thinking any day the Iswari, Janava Devi is coming, all the devotees are coming. Because of Narottam, our whole town is got so much mercy from Krishna from Chaitanya Maharaj, just because he has come, so much opportunity. The whole town completely forgot about anything else. Practically the whole town was simply Krishna conscious. All they could think about was the Vaishnavas that were coming, the festivals that were going to happen, and the kirtans that were going on. Everyone, they were completely absorbed in the festivities and the preaching programs, then the preparations and cleaning the streets and decorating the houses, all for the welcome of the devotees. And as they were coming, each village, they all came out and offered garlands and paid obeisances and did so many, washed the feet of the great associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that were coming. And each village, as they went, they're purifying the whole countryside in this way. And then finally, they reached to the opposite side of the Padma River, where the Keturi is on the opposite side of the Padma, which is a branch coming off from the Ganges, where the Ganges splits into the Padma and Bhagirathi. So, there the king had already had boats ready for them and took them right across, arranged their houses, gave them a place to stay, first bathed their feet, gave them a place to stay. Just everything was arranged perfectly for their convenience. And then immediately there's non-stop kirtan and lectures and different programs were there. And everyone was thinking of the day when the big Abhishek would happen, the Gaur Purnima. So, the day of the Gaur Purnima, everyone took their bath in the Ganges early in the morning or in the Padma, came there to the, Janava Devi, she gave the command, the order to Srinivas that you do the Abhishek. Narottam was there helping him, and they did the big bathing of so many things of sacred water, and installed the deities up on the Singhasan, and all the devotees were chanting and kirtan and watching. And after this beautiful Abhishek was being performed, then they asked what was, next for the next order. So she said that distribute the garlands, the Mahaprasad garlands and Abhishek to all the associates. And so they distributed all those flower garlands to the associates that were present, like Achyutananda. He came from Shantipur and met them in, Achyutananda himself, the number one son and his two brothers, they came and met them, the whole party with Janava Devi and Navadip in the company. So he was there, so they gave him and others their garlands. And then after that, Janava personally sent two associates and they garlanded Narottam and Srinivas. And then the order was given that you start the arti. So then Srinivas did the arti for the deities. Gauranga deities and Radha Bala, different deities were there. And as the arti was going on, Krishna, from his transcendental form, started to spread his actual bodily aroma. Krishna's bodily aroma, which excites the devotees with transcendental love beyond any, limit. He spread that aroma from his form, from the deities. And the devotees were smelling the transcendental form of Krishna. And they became mad in that kirtan. And they're jumping up and down and they became mad in love for Krishna. Because of Krishna's, transcendental presence through these, just letting them smell his transcendental bodily aroma, which is transcendental, completely. They became mad in love for Krishna. Completely ecstatic. And after that arti was over, then Achyutananda, he told Narottam that you begin the kirtan. Narottam was the kirtan Thakur. The actual kirtan Thakur. He was the Narottam Thakur. So, Narottam had his trained Madranga players, and describes that before, like a warm-up, the mridanga players, they did so many beats, like it was like a 5-10 minute warm-up with the mridrangas first, where they were all playing, so many mridrangas in unison exactly, and dancing. If you ever see them, they still do it in Bengal. And they said they were going on their knees, they were jumping up, dancing, spinning around, doing a complete, and then bringing it up, boom. And then he started the kirtan. I don't know, how do you explain it? I mean, you gotta, right? So, even today you can see 3 or 4 at unison, they know how to do it, more or less, but you can imagine Americans, private, trained, chord players, So they were described as the way that they played in unison exactly, and such complicated beats. And then brought it up to a crescendo, and then he started the kirtan. So first he started a kirtan glorifying how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the combined Radha and Krishna, and is in the mood of Radharani, and then in this way he was chanting different pastimes, and the devotees were all participating in the kirtan responsively. And then he got into the Mahamantra kirtan, chanting Hare Krishna. And everyone, all those associates, they were all dancing kirtan and Maha Harinam. Everyone was there. And actually the temple, the kirtan hall, where when they were bathing the deities, was very small. But they said it seemed like there were unlimited people. I mean, we say like packed like, but I want to say that because it's like not a Vaishnava thing, but I don't know what you say, probably, what you would say, packed like a New York, no, much more than that. Like the Japanese subway. Something completely unlimited people were fitting in this small area to see the Abhishek. So this time the kirtan was going on after the Abhishek and it was over. All these associates were dancing in that place, and other people, they were all outside. And they were also chanting, and they were all jumping on each other, trying to look over and see all these great devotees dancing and chanting in kirtan. And Narottam and Achyutananda started dancing, and Janavavasi was off on one side, and different devotees, they were all dancing and chanting in kirtan. And they were feeling deep separation at one point from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So intense separation from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And suddenly, the most transcendental, inconceivable mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu happened. What is inconceivable, which has made that place in the eternal history of the Vaishnava culture. It's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, with Nityananda, with Advaita, with Gadadhar, with Srivas, with Mahārāja, with Rupa Goswami, Sarup Damodar, Ramananda Rai, all the associates who had disappeared, they all appeared right there, in person, and they participated, jumped up in the kirtan, all the devotees, they paid their beat, no, kirtan, and they all had a huge kirtan. The devotees who had disappeared from the world already with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, and all the second and third and fourth generation devotees who were still present, all together. They were all chanting in Sankirtan, and it was the most ecstatic Sankirtan who could imagine. Nityananda was embracing his associates, and they were all reunited again. Achyutananda was dancing with Advaita Gosai. Every devotee's desire was completely satisfied. And the people outside, they think how fortunate they were. They hadn't even been born after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had left. They were able to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu present before their very eyes at this sacred place. And this way the kirtan ran on and on and on, like a day of Brahma. The kirtan just kept going on, and all these devotees, and the Lord himself, Prakat, everyone was present there. And suddenly, at one point, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the devotees who were Aprakat, who were actually already their leelas were elsewhere, would disappear. Kotai Gaurachandra, Kotai Nityananda, Kotai Dvaita, Kotai Gunahara, Kotai. Where is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Where is Nityananda? Where is Advaita? Where is Gunahara? Where is Srivas? Where is Sarudamana, Ramanandana, Rupa Sanasana? Where are they now? And the devotees were thrown into again the abyss of separation, pulling their hair and falling unconscious, rolling on the ground, beating their Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had been there, and now he disappeared again. So Janavadevi, she said again, do not lament, this is the Lord's inconceivable mercy, go on chanting. And so then they had a tremendous Virohi separation kirtan, which practically melted the rock. And everyone chanted. So then they took their bath again, and after seeing Mangalarti, and Janava Devi, that day after Gaur Purnima, she personally prepared the prasadam, the bhoga for Lord Chaitanya and the deities. Personally prepared and offered with greatest love and devotion. And then she personally had first all the associates and the mahantas, like Ramchandra Kaviraj and others, they had them all sit down. And she personally supervised everyone getting this prasadam. And the devotees, of course, to get prasadam, just like when some great, when Radharani or Janava Devi or someone prepares prasadam, of course, that prasadam is very special. Like when Prabhupada would prepare prasadam, that was very special. So, Janava, she personally prepared this prasadam, offered, and then saw that all these great devotees, as they were served this prasadam. Prepared the bhoga, offered, and then. So, after they took, then, the distribution of prasad went on, and on, and on. And literally, just hundreds of thousands of people kept coming, and everyone was fed with prasadam. Long into the night, the day after the Gaur Purnima. A big prasadam distribution. Everyone who came, and everyone, the whole, you see, they would go and bow down in that place where Lord Chaitanya had appeared and where all the devotees had danced, and just take the dust. That how fortunate Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself, and that was the place that Narottam would always chant. Lord Chaitanya himself and his associates had appeared there. So like this, there were so many festivals they had. So we could also hope. We heard at one time Prabhupada was commenting how he saw Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda dancing amongst the Rath Yatra in 1971 or something like that in San Francisco. I heard a story about that. And of course, how wonderful it would be to be reunited, even with those like Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Gaur Kishore, Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Jagannath Das Bhavati, Baladev Jubas, and other great associates, and acharyas. Anything is possible. Nothing is impossible, of course. Such great devotees were there, they deserve it. We don't deserve anything but being kicked for the rest of us. But, considering the inconceivable mercy of Lord Nityananda, we can always hope for different types of transcendental mercy. Because they can do anything. They're independent, Isvara. Independent controller. They're not subject to doing according to anyone else's calculation. They're independent. They can do as they see fit, as they like. So if Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants to appear, or if he wants to have any devotees appear, of course he's present. But who is able to see? Like at Panihati, not everyone could see. Only a few could see Lord Chaitanya. But here everyone was able to see. Even after he disappeared for a long time. Panihati, he was still present, but he was in Puri. Here he'd already left the world. And all those associates had left, but they all appeared. For Jesus Christ, He just came back alone, but when Lord Chaitanya came back, He came back with everybody. And of course, that's not the only time. On several occasions, even different yugas, devotees, when they worship Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just like Ramanujacharya, when he went to Navadvip, he also saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally. But he wanted to stay there and preach bhakti because the Lord Chaitanya told him that he should continue preaching Dasya Rasa. But that he would help him in his pastimes and come and meet him at that time. Like that, each of the four acharyas, they also had pastimes for Lord Chaitanya. Rudra Sampradāya began in Navadvip Dham. Vishnu Swami met Lord Shiva in Navadvip only. And Nimbarka met the four Kumaras in Belpukur, where we have just rebuilt the temple of the deity of Sachimata. And that Belpukur, that's where the four Kumaras gave their mercy to Nimbarka Goswami. And he started the Nimbarka, the Kumara Sampradāya Vaishnavism. And he also worshipped Chaitanya Mahaprabhu there. And Lord Chaitanya told him to simply preach Radha Krishna worship. So we can discuss more of these things future days. We can hope for the special mercy. That's what we should do. Rather than hoping that we'll be happy in this material world, which is simply a waste of time, we should hope that by sincerely engaging in the Sankirtan movement, that this will be pleasing to our spiritual master, and this will bring us in actually the presence of the Lord. The Lord, He appeared in the middle of the big Sankirtan Jagya, the big festivals and the big preaching. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he advised that by submerging oneself into the Sankirtan movement, that one can relish the highest appreciation, highest realization of pure love for Krishna. Radha Krishna. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare.